Hello, my name is Sarah Goonan. The following video presentation will detail a corporate event held at Toyota UK in Burniston. The first slide looks into the meeting description and purpose. The description or title for the event is EPKM, which stands for the European Production Kaizen Meeting. The EPKM is held twice a year and is held in a different plant throughout Europe. This decision is where to hold the meeting is identified by Toyota Motor Europe in Brussels. Toyota UK was nominated to host the meeting in November 2015, with 80 top-level management to attend from across Europe. A quote from Alan states, "The next thing to consider is the purpose of the event. Why are you holding it? What are your goals and intentions?" So the purpose of the EPKM event is to allow the Toyota European plants management team the opportunity to Yokoten Toyota UK processes and new ideas by the Go Look See activity, including the shop floor tour. The EPKM is where each plant will also present a business update on production during the face-to-face meeting. So what are the goals and intentions for the meeting? So for the EPKM, there are 4 key elements. So it's the plant tour, the face-to-face meeting, including presentations, the wrap-up session, including feedback, and the informal dinner. Moving on to the project planning, the event management. In this slide, it shows the steps in which the EPKM is managed. So step 1 is to set up an event committee or a team, a number of key members who have experience in the field required or have previously hosted similar events. Step 2 is to assign a project leader. This person is responsible for the overall project and will oversee the event committee, delegating responsibility and tasks for the event elements to individuals within the team. Step 3 is to identify the key tasks for the EPKM event, which will include overall schedule, budget, delegate logistics, EPKM on-site activities, on-site hospitality, informal meal, and event feedback. Step 4 is to follow the 5 process groups. So this is initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. O'Toole states the event management process also includes the associated documentation that will facilitate communication with all parties involved in the event. This leads us to the overall schedule. By creating an overall schedule, this will enable the project leader to visualise how the event management process is coming together. Different formats can be used by companies when planning an event. A popular one is the Gantt chart. O'Toole states that graphical displays can impact information quickly across many different work cultures. The Gantt chart or bar chart is such a display. At Toyota UK, we use a Keshikomi, which is similar to a Gantt chart. This format was used for the EPKM event. The Keshikomi quickly shows the project leader the following. So it shows the key tasks, and this will have its own column. Who is responsible for the action, status on each element, and the timescale for completion. The colour scheme is used to show the status. This identifies tasks that are complete, on target, behind, or impacting the next milestone. So the budget. The budget for the EPKM was £12,000, and this was broken down into 4 segments. On-site hospitality, shop tour, this will include preparation and manpower allocated to the activity, transportation, so a bus from the hotel to the plant, then back to the hotel for the guests, and then the informal meal. Just to point out, all flights and obviously airport transfers and accommodation costs are to be paid by the individual attending the business meeting. So how to keep a track on the spending. The project leader will create a budget tracker or a cost sheet which will enable control of the event finances. So Alan states, laying out your proposed budget on a cost sheet will allow you to clearly see what items can be included and still keep you within your budget. Members of the event team will obtain quotes ahead of the activity from the suppliers and show these as budgeted costs on the tracker. On completion of the event, invoices from each supplier will be paid, and this will be shown as actual cost on the tracker. So, delegate logistics. So when inviting 80 managers from across Europe, there are steps that need to be taken. An invitation letter will be sent to all delegates. Confirmation forms is emailed asking for the requirements of the individuals, and an example of this form is provided on the right hand side. Collating the responses. After the complete confirmation forms have been returned, the event team can collate all the information together and create a delegate logistics matrix shown below. Details of the matrix will enable the event team to organise group transfers to and from the airports, which will help to reduce costs for the company. The delegate logistics matrix and joining instructions is then emailed to the delegates a week before the event date. Having a matrix ensures all attendees' requirements are reserved in advance and provides the guests with a smooth business trip. So holding the EPK on the plan allows Toyota UK to break the event into two parts, a shop tour and the face-to-face meeting. So the shop tour, the layout of the plant is shown in the picture opposite, and the delegates will be divided into 4 groups of 20. As part of the activity, the press, weld and assembly shops will be visited by each group. The event team will coordinate the tours, ensuring all safety and audio equipment is provided for each delegate. Then we have the presentations. So Toyota UK has the facility to hold the face-to-face meeting and presentations at the plant due to having its own conference centre on site. The conference centre can accommodate 80 delegates. The meeting layout needed, so that includes seats and tables. Presentation facilities, it has its own stage, lectern and projector and projector screen and surround sound. And a separate foyer which can be used for breaks and refreshments, and has the facilities of toilets for the guests to use. This slide looks at the on-site hospitality requirements needed for the EPKM throughout the day, and this would include the welcome drinks on arrival, the break refreshments mid-morning, buffet lunch, break refreshments mid-afternoon. So due to the size of the Burnison plant and having over 2,500 members working on site, there's an on-site catering supplier, Sodexo, who will provide the catering required for the event. Catering for the hospitality requirements will be accounted for in the budget tracker. Providing buffet lunch and refreshments during break time sessions ensures all delegates are hosted and remain in the conference centre area. This will allow the event team to follow the day-to-day section of the Keshikami and keep the EPKM on track. So for each EPKM event, an informal meal is organised for the evening of the EPKM. The meal allows delegates to continue to discuss the meeting activities, such as information shared and processes reviewed, in more detail. So what is required? The event team will investigate what is required for the informal dinner and will use the 5 W's approach. So who will be attending? All delegates. What is it? It's the informal dinner and needs to include a 3-course meal. Why? To encourage further discussions and sharing opportunities between plants. Where? It needs to be close to the Burnison plant and a venue which can accommodate all the requirements. And when? It needs to be the evening of the EPKM date. Bodin shows a table of factors opposite to consider when looking for a venue. Once the event team have identified suitable venues, feedback from previous EPKM events that held at Burnison need to be considered. So, for example, 95% of delegates attending the EPKM prefer the informal meal and accommodation to be held at the same venue. After taking into consideration the feedback points and requirements needed, this led to the Mikulova Court being the chosen venue to host the informal meal, with reservations being made at the hotel for each guest. The feedback for the meeting is completed in 2 ways. The wrap-up session at the face-to-face meeting and completion of the feedback form. At the end of the face-to-face meeting, a wrap-up session is placed on the agenda. This allows the Vice Presidents for each plant to feedback on the EPKM and the activities which have been reviewed during the activity, both shop floor tours and presentations. The delegates are also asked to complete a feedback form which will enable them to rate the EPKM experience, and that includes activities on the day. Have their expectations been met? Comment on successful aspects of the activities, so did we choose the right locations and topics covered? Advise on any improvement areas, and rate the delegate logistics, so feedback on transfers and the accommodation used. Collating the feedback from delegates is an excellent method to obtain views and suggestions which can be reflected on and implemented into future events at Toyota UK. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen and watch my video presentation.